Hey there, Regina Andler here, and it is time for Tips and Tricks Tuesday. This week, our theme is courage, and it's courage in all kinds of different aspects of your business because it takes courage to start a business, to run a business, to make that call. And today, specifically, we're going to talk about pricing that offer. So, when you think about your offers, one of the biggest things that I hear from people all the time is, I don't know how much to charge for this. And here's the thing, when you think about, I don't know how much to charge for this, and you think about what it is that you're teaching, a lot of us get hung up because in our minds, what we're teaching is really simple because we know it. And so when you think about the fact that you already know it, you don't think there's any value to it because, well, you already know this information. Let me ask you this. How much time, how much money over your years have you spent to get to the place where you can say, oh, yeah, I just know how to do that? You didn't know how to do it at one point. Maybe you took certification courses. Maybe you have degrees. Maybe you spent hours and hours and hours. Maybe it was years of working someplace else. All of that time is value. Now, people are coming to you for your offer for whatever it is that they need to solve their problem because you have that solution. They don't know it yet. And they haven't gone out and spent the money on those certifications, gotten those degrees, spent all of those years on all that time. Time is money. All that time to learn what it is that you know. That's why they're coming to you. So your time and your experience has value. Now, when you price something that's brand new, a lot of times it's hard to figure out, I don't know, should this be, if it's a high ticket item, I don't know, should it be $9.97? Should it be $29.97? By the way, if you see that 97 or that 7 at the end of numbers, that's actually a psychological thing. You can look it up. You can do some research on that if you want. Apparently, the number 7 is a psychological thing for our brains. When we see something that's $17, $27, $47, $97, $4.97, our brains are more likely to say, yeah, I'll do that, than they are to say, okay, well, it was $4.97. Okay, you know what? I'm going to make it $500. People will buy more of the $4.97 than the $500. It's a psychological trick. So just as an FYI, that's why you see that out there. And when you think about that new price, now, sometimes if you haven't really vetted the offer out there, if it makes you feel better, do a beta trial. Put it out there. Say it's something that, really should be priced at maybe $29.97. Maybe it's an 8-week program, or and it's very comprehensive. It has a lot of information, or a 3-month program or something like that, where it's really hands-on and they're getting a lot of you. What is involved with the offer? Is it a do-it-yourself? Is it a lot of your involvement? Are you doing one-to-ones with people? What's involved? That all has a factor in it. But the courage to actually really price it where it needs to be, that's where the challenge comes in. So in order to ease your mind, because your mind is going, oh, I don't think it's worth $29.97. Now, somebody else who's looking at that says, oh my God, that's priceless, $29.97. That's like, here's my credit card, let's do this, because it's the solution they need. So for them, they're thinking about it differently than you are. For you, it takes the courage to say, here's what I'm pricing it at. But if you haven't vetted it out yet, you can always do a beta and say, hey, I'm going to do it for $9.97 for the next month. For the next 4 weeks, it's going to be available at $9.97. Then it's going to go to its regular price. If you want to get in early, here's where you go. Because now that actually helps give you more confidence and more courage to say, oh yeah, like 20 people instantly jumped on that deal. I know, yeah, $29.97 was the right price. Now I have the courage to go out and price it where it should be. Now, when you're pricing things, remember, you want to price them, in the market. You don't want to go crazy. outside the market. So if something that everybody else is offering for $9.97 and you want to offer it for $49.97, that might be a stretch unless you can justify why yours is worth that much. And just adding in, because I have the certifications and the knowledge and all that kind of stuff, everybody has that. But again, that's worth value. So when you're pricing something new, it's a matter of figuring out, has this worked before? So again, the beta is a great way to put something out there to say, hey, we're going to beta test this and we're going to give it a special price. Part of the beta test is that you ask people that are on the beta test, hey, you got the special price. When you're done the course, one of the things that goes with this is I would love that testimonial, because now you have proof that it worked for other people. Now, when you raise the price, you've got testimonials from people who went through it at the beta price that said, this solved my problem. This gave me the solution I was looking for. This gave me the transformation, whatever it is that your offer does for them. Right now, you've got something else. So it's not just the price, you're getting that testimonial too. And that can be priceless when it comes to future sales of your offer. So think about what you're actually pricing. And when it comes to that courage, that confidence, courage and confidence really go together. So when it comes to that courage and confidence to say, you know what? This is the price that I'm putting this out at because I know it's worth that much. It's actually probably worth more than that. You've probably gone out and you've seen offers that are out there where they show all of the line items of everything that's included. And they say like it's a $15,000 value. You're getting it today for $29.97. There's a reason that people do that. They show that value, but then they market towards where the regular general public is going to say, okay, well, I'm not going to pay $15,000 for this, but they're getting the value. That value, that's all based on your experience, your training, your time. When you come up with the value of your offer versus the actual price, there's that little delta there, right? So, hey, it's going for $9.97. And then when you put out all the things that go with it and you say, hey, this is like this is valued at $9,000 and you're getting it for $997. That's where you see that. That's where that comes in. That value is the real value. Some of that stuff that's in there that goes with your value, some of those things might be priceless. Some of that knowledge that you have that is uniquely yours, that's priceless because you're the only one who has that knowledge. So when you think about that pricing and the courage to price things at the right price, think about all those things that you know, all those things that you've learned. Actually take a sheet of paper and write down for what you do today. Write down, here's where that knowledge came from. Oh, I took certification courses. I have a degree. I spent 40 years, 20 years in corporate or working someplace where I gained this experience. All of that is value. And it all actually helps you with that courage. When you sit there and go, oh yeah, I actually spent quite a bit in time and money to get the knowledge that I have today that I am now imparting on others. Think about what that value really is. Write that down on a piece of paper. I've spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars between trainings, master classes, masterminds, working with other mentors, all of that stuff that you've paid for to get the knowledge and acquire the knowledge that you have that you're now putting into your offer. Probably you spent a lot of money, a lot of time on that. That's all part of your value for what it is that you're doing. And when you sit there and you write that down, all of a sudden your courage boosts up, your confidence boosts up. You're like, wow, this really is worth a lot more than I'm thinking it's worth, right? So think about testing it out first with that beta. You can have that short beta. Maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, whatever it is. Because then if you say, okay, I'm going to do this beta test. Now you can sell it that way, you can market it that way, and people will jump on that. If you really have something that people want, they're going to jump on that and say, absolutely, I'm going to jump on that before the price goes up. I did tons of beta stuff where I got in and then you're locked in, you're grandfathered in, right? So stuff where it was like a monthly thing. And then when they raised the price, I'm grandfathered into the original price that I started with. There's a lot of value in that for people. So a lot of people like that. Then you do want to bring it to where it really needs to be. Once you've got it all vetted out, once you've found that the offer actually is really working, maybe through that first beta test, you said, okay, you know what? I'm going to add some more stuff. I'm going to make some more tweaks. I'm going to change some things around. You're adding more value to it. Now it's really extra valuable. Now that higher price is much more attractive to the other people because there's so much that you're adding to it. So I also want to mention here is that the test out can backfire if you don't do it right. What I mean is if you do it the wrong way and maybe the beta test is way too low, then people are going to be like, well, if she was selling it for this, then, that's just crazy because like there was like a 90% discount from what they're charging. So it must really not be worth that much. So you got to be careful and you want to, it's a little game that you play with pricing, but always think about what it's worth and have the courage, have the confidence to put it out there and see what people think. You can always change the price later. If everybody comes back and says, no, it's not worth that much, then you either need to add more value to the course or maybe you need to lower the price. It all depends. So it's a little game when it comes to pricing. So use your mind filled with where did I get all this knowledge from? How do I know all this stuff? So use that to boost your courage, boost your confidence. And then pick that number that you want before you tell anybody else. So you're not like negotiating with yourself in a live conversation with somebody and say, well, I'm thinking about selling it for $497, but I don't know. I might do $297. I'm not really sure. Don't do that. Pick a number. Have the courage to put it out there. See what happens. Test it out. Again, if you're having that thing in your brain with the courage and you're like, I just don't know that it's worth that. Chances are pretty good it is worth that. And it's actually your brain going, yeah, but this is so easy. Remember, it's easy to you because you spent all that time, all that money, all those years learning what it is. To somebody who hasn't gone through all that, it is priceless if they need that, if they need what you have to get the transformation, the solution, whatever it is that they're looking for out of your offer. For them, it's priceless. For you, it's like, oh yeah, this is so easy. Don't get caught in that trap. That's where the pricing trap happens. And you don't have the courage to price it where it needs to be because your brain goes, yeah, well, just put it at $997. I know there's like, it should probably be out at like 8,000 or like something like that, but we'll just sell it for $997 or $97 or something like that. Don't do that because you're undervaluing yourself. And then your audience is just saying, okay, well, that's where it is. That's where you end up in that little trap of it's really hard to raise it after that to where it really should be. So really think about where you should be pricing something. Have the courage to come out of the gate with a number that makes you feel maybe a little bit uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be massively uncomfortable. You can say, hey, I'm going to do the beta at $997 with the idea and the plan already strategically worked out that the real price after beta is going to be whatever, X. So if it's $997, maybe it's $29.97. So you're doing this beta, and with the beta comes some caveats for the people who join the beta, testimonials, anything else that you want, feedback, stuff that's going to be valuable to you. That's the extra that you're getting from them for the beta to say, okay, I'm going to tweak this, I'm going to do that. And then here I am, I'm boosting it up to the price that it really should be. Even if that makes you feel uncomfortable, just do it. Just do it. You will find, again, if you've got the right audience and you've got the right offer, you're solving a problem, you're giving them a transformation, you're solving the solution, you're giving them the solution to the problem that they have. If you have a product, a software, a offer, something that does that for people, in their eyes, it could be priceless. So whatever you price it at, they will find a way or make a way to make sure that they get it, because that's the solution they're looking for. So, and you don't need a back track record to price and with courage and confidence here. You just need to start someplace. So let me know in the comments below when you watch this, if you've been sitting on an offer that you aren't sure how to price. I am happy to actually have a 15-minute conversation with you and maybe get you on the right track for pricing it where it really should be for your audience. I am happy to help you out with that, because I really want to see you succeed. I really want to see you have the courage to go out there and price your offers, your products, your services where they really should be, so that you can be successful. That's what I've got for you today. We'll see you next time on Tips and Tricks Tuesday. Bye for now.